What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dion W Pro, the best in the Midwest, and today we are reviewing the High Point C9. Let's get into it. Now, you may be asking yourself, Dion, why High Point? Did you go broke? I say, what are you, a gangster now? Well, first off, I don't plan on going broke anytime soon. And second, I always been a gangster, baby.
It's actually almost easier to fucking shoot it sideways. What the fuck?
All right, enough jokes. Okay, so we've got the High Point here today, the C9. This is a 9mm semi-automatic. So let's talk about this gun for a little bit. So the C9 is a semi-automatic pistol, comes in at about 25 to 29 ounces, so roughly about 2 pounds. It is pretty heavy. You can definitely feel the weight, especially when you get the magazine in there. The thing about these magazines is they only hold 8 bullets, and with only 8 bullets, you definitely want to get yourself an extra magazine. You can go on to the High Point website and buy one. They only cost maybe like $5, $6. There's also a few other upgrades you can get to the C9. I myself went on the website and I got myself this ghost sight ring just to change it up a little bit because I was kind of getting tired of the standard sights. Now, a lot of people talk a lot of trash about the C9. In my experience, I haven't really had any issues with it, maybe a misfire here or there. I've talked to people who've had C9s in the past and they say they haven't had any issues at all. And I talk to other people and they say just throw it in the garbage because it's no good and you might as well just use it as a melee weapon. So there's people on all sorts of the spectrum when it comes to the C9. All right, now without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing loaded and fire off some rounds downrange, see what happens. All right, so just as a bit of a reliability test, we're going to be firing these really dirt cheap, basically the bottom of the barrel, Blazer ammunition. Nothing wrong with Blazer, but it is a very cheap, basically target ammo. Now these are actually aluminum cased, and the reason I did that is because I've had absolutely no problem firing the brass or copper plated or whatever it is. But these aluminum casings, I know that the friction on the aluminum is a lot more, so they might not want to slide through that chamber as easily as some of the other ammunition. So that's what we've got loaded up. We've got 8 shots here, and we're going to go ahead and fire all 8 and see how it does. Hopefully we don't get a misfire. I've had maybe like a handful of misfires out of 200 rounds through this High Point here. So I'm expecting good things, but again, I did get a cheaper ammunition that I have not shot through this before. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's try it out. Well, you guys saw it here. First charge on the slide, it already got stuck. So let's go ahead and try and get that out real quick. We'll do it off camera. Okay, so that is definitely going to put a little bit of a hold on what we're doing. But what happened there is the bullet got stuck as it was being loaded into the chamber. And I think it may have been a user error. I didn't really pull that slide that hard. I'll keep the footage in of me pulling the slide. Maybe I just needed to pull it a little bit harder. But what I did is I just yanked on it a little bit and it chambered up just fine. So we will go ahead, get this thing fired off. Let's see if we don't have any issues. Okay, so the gun is already chambered from the last issue we had. We're going to go ahead and fire it off. We got my target downrange. We're at about 12 feet right now. In most self-defense situations, you're probably going to be around 7 to 5 feet away from your assailant. So this is going to be kind of one of those scenarios where you would have to pull at this range. So let's go ahead and set up. We've got the ghost sight ring, and we're just going to go ahead and aim downrange, see what we can do. So we're shooting a little bit low. There we go, right on the money. A little low, right on the money. A little high, right on the money. Right on the money. Right on the money. All right, and that's everything. So we've got 2 low, 1 high. Everything else was in the bullseye. Let's go ahead and go down range and check it out. So we're headed down range, and as you can see, not bad. I think I did a pretty good job here. Like I said, we shot a little low right here. I shot right over the same shot, which is pretty cool here. So all in all, not bad. We will go ahead and step back just a little bit farther and see how that turns out.
All right, so as you can see, after that first initial issue we had with the slide,
We were able to fire 8 shots cleanly out of the C9 with no issues. We're gonna go ahead and step it back just a little bit further and see if we get the same results. Okay, now we are significantly farther back. I would say probably about 20 feet, probably like 5-10 yards. Now what we're gonna do is go ahead and try to charge this gun again, see if we have any issues. I'm just gonna yoink that slide back and see if it just pushes the bullet right where it needs to be. We're gonna go ahead and put 8 more shots down range. Let's get into it. All right, let's charge it. All right, no issues with the charge. Okay, Tex, I gotta say that was some good shooting. Call myself Cool Hand Luke right there. So we put about 5 to 6 more shots right in that red dot, and as you can see, I'm only seeing 2 shots out of where that bullseye is. So let's go ahead and bring us in a little bit closer so we can take that out. All right, that was definitely some good shooting if I don't say so myself. We do have a couple spots here. So it looks like I shot just right below the target, maybe once or twice right there. And I did shoot over to the right, but look at these, look at that spread. And that was from a lot farther out. That ghost sight ring really does the trick. Here soon, we'll do a video comparing the ghost sight ring to the standard sights. But yeah, that is from about 10 yards, 20 feet away. I'm really impressed with that. What do you guys think? All right. All right, so I mean, the proof is in the pudding right there. We were able to get damn near 6-7 shots right there on that red dot from a good distance away. So any qualms that someone might have about this C9's reliability as far as accuracy goes, I feel like I just kind of laid that to rest right there. Maybe it has something to do with the ghost ring sight that I put on it, but I feel pretty confident I'd be able to do that with standard sights as well. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. We'll do one little magnum before we get out of here, and we'll get back to the house and we'll do one little last thoughts and review segment about the C9. I've had a real good time shooting it so far. Let's get into it. All right, here's some one-handed action for you. That was fun. Again, right there, weird ass angle, no misfires at all. I'm still very happy with the C9. Again, I'm also happy for the fact that I can get this dirt cheap ammunition, that Blazer stuff, aluminum casing, and have no issues with stickiness on the casings of that 9mm ammo. All right, we made it back to the spot. I'm gonna leave you guys with my final thoughts on the Hi-Point C9. Is it trash or does it smash? Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to kind of give this a weapon rating. Now, what we're going to do is rate it off the size, recoil, power, and concealability, as well as how much training is involved in figuring this firearm out. All right, so first we're going to be talking about our size and concealability. As you can see, it is pretty big. I think it's a 5-inch barrel, I believe it is, but the weight is very, very heavy. So even if you do have a holster, which I would recommend getting if you're going to carry this, it's going to be a noticeable weight on the side of your hip. And that kind of brings us into the concealability. Now, I have worn this under my shirt and, you can't really tell. I'll go ahead and show you guys just a quick shot of what it would look like with the holster on outside of my jeans, and then I'll just put my shirt right over it, and it is concealable. All right, as far as concealability goes, I'm wearing it on my hip. I'm just wearing a large Carhartt shirt, and it's pretty non-noticeable. No one's just going to be staring at you. It is right here. Now you can see it, but kind of mess with the shirt a little bit. And again, when you're just walking around in public, no one's going to notice. And this is not a conceal holster. If I had an in the thigh holster, they would not notice it at all. But again, it's just the weight is what you're really going to be noticing about this C9. All right, now we're going to be talking about the recoil and power of this C9. As far as the recoil goes, I felt like it was very controllable. The gun is very, I would say, top heavy, and it seems like the center mass is right in this area. So when the slide does come back, it does jerk your hand a little bit, but I feel like the weight of the actual pistol compensates for the recoil. So I would give that almost like an 8 out of 10 for recoil. And as far as power goes, the muzzle velocity on this is 1,279 feet per second, which, I mean, again, you're going to be firing a 9 millimeter projectile out of this firearm. So that is more than enough to take care of anything that would come your way. So again, the power is 10 out of 10. There's no issues with this C9. Now, one thing you do have to take in mind is that the trainability of these can be a learning curve, especially for someone who has never fired a weapon before. Myself, I started on revolvers and then evolved into semi-automatic. But for someone who's never fired a weapon before and is getting something for self-defense, um, I would say this might be a good gun to start on as well, just because you may have some malfunctions with it that are very relatively easy to take care of. So that's going to give you some training right there. Um, Ammo is relatively inexpensive. You can run this dirt cheap ammo, as you can see, this Blazer through it, and it ran it no problem. So if you are really, really needing a weapon for self-defense, you really can't afford something in the 200 to 300 price range. I mean, I would spring for this pistol right here. Again, it's only $100. You could probably find it even cheaper than that. I got this one at a local pawn shop for $119, and I've had a heck of a time shooting with it. Again, you're going to want to get some upgrades for it. I got 2 extra magazines and I got the holster. I also, like I said, got the ghost sight rings, which is a phenomenal upgrade. Um, I know you can get larger capacity magazines for it, but a lot of that stuff I think is aftermarket. It's not like by High Point. So you may have some issues with those causing any sort of misfires or malfunctions. Again, just get yourself an extra clip. One thing is for self-defense, I mean, you're probably going to want as many bullets as possible. And this is just a single stack and it only holds 8. So you're definitely either going to want to get, again, that second clip or look into other options. So let's talk a little bit about the ammo situation. I was running these really dirt cheap aluminum case centerfire cartridges. These are 9mm. Found these at the local Farm and Home. They were running a deal and they were about $10.99 a box for 50 of them. So you really can't beat that. And again, the only issue I had with this super cheap ammo is that if you don't really yoink that slide back, some of these bullets may get caught and then you're just going to have all sorts of a heck of a time trying to get them out. So you can opt for this step up, which is the same ammo Blazer, but it is also a brass case. And I would actually recommend shooting this Remington UMC out of your High Point if that is the route you want to go. This is probably your next step up. It's probably about 12 to 13 a box depending on what state you live in, but I'm here in the Midwest in Iowa and this is dirt cheap. Now, again, there are other options that you can go for. If you really want a High Point for self-defense, you're probably going to want to get a more expensive self-defense round. And those can get pretty pricey, up to 17 per maybe like 25 bullets, anywhere up to maybe like 25 for 50 of them. So it can get pretty pricey when you're going into some of those more expensive self-defense bullets. So overall, do I want you to buy the High Point? I would say yes, I do want you to go buy the High Point. It costs about $100 and you're going to have a ton of fun shooting it. If shooting for recreation is your thing, you can have a ton of fun with this gun. If you want to get something cheap for your buddies to handle when you all go to the range, they don't have a firearm, give them the High Point. This is going to be a perfect weapon for them. Super simple, easy to use. I would definitely recommend this gun. Now let's get into my thoughts on self-defense and the C9. So for the self-defense section of this, you can conceal it. It is a weapon that fires and it will do its job, But would I recommend it for someone who needs a firearm and has the extra money to buy something that's a little bit more expensive than this? Definitely go out, go ahead and get your like Kimber K6, go ahead and get your Glock. There's Rugers out there. There's a lot of different pistols that will do the job. This does a lot better. You're not going to have malfunctions like this does. You saw it. I right when I pulled the slide, immediately had an issue. So if you are going to be in a self-defense situation and you pull the slide like that, and now basically you're just stuck holding a brick. So I would not recommend this unless you absolutely need a firearm to defend yourself and you do not have the budget to get anything in a steeper price range. That is the only time I would ever recommend this as a conceal carry or even open carry in a self-defense scenario. All right, before we leave today, I just wanted to give a big thank you to all of our new subscribers. We hit 10,000, which is a huge achievement. Let's keep it going. Let's keep moving. Let's keep growing. If you have any suggestions for things you want to see in the future, feel free to drop it in the comments. And if you want to stay in touch and see what we're doing, any up-to-date music posts or video posts, go ahead and fuck. All right, before I get out of here today, I just wanted to give a big thank you and shout out to all of the people who made this happen. We hit 10,000 subscribers, which is a huge achievement. I can't wait to see what we have in store in the future. If you have any suggestions for the channel, things you want to see in the future, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'll make sure to make it happen. All right, without further ado, my name is Dion W. Pro, the best in the Midwest. Later.